to Royal Rebounds TV with Calvin and Barry. Just two crazy fans of the Sacramento Kings, and they sharing their opinion. So be sure that you subscribe. It's for the fans, by the fans. Whether you chilling on the couch or wildin' in the stand. For laid-back conversations about the Kings, subscribe here. Staying down until we come up thinking this gon' be our year. We're here, drinking beer, talking about the Kings. Be sure you subscribe so you can hear that bell ring, yeah.
What up, Kings fans? Welcome back to Royal Rebounds, the Sacramento Kings YouTube channel for fans, by fans. The Kings win tonight, 131-110 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. De'Aaron Fox has 29 points, 10 assists. He passes Reggie Theus on the all-time assist list for Sacramento. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to smash that like button down below. And if you would like to join the Royal family with Calvin, Vinny, and I, make sure you hit that subscribe button before the shot clock expires.
That's right. Kings win today, 131-110. Like you said, De'Aaron Fox, another fantastic game. Second double-double in a row for him. Trey Lyles showed up today in a big way.
Yes, he did.
It may just be for one day, but Kings fans can be happy today. Kings win. Spurs lose. Lakers get annihilated at home last night. Time for a nightcap.
Too bad it was by the... your favorite podcast platform. We would appreciate a 5-star rating. And if you would like to be a part of the show, you can always join us live after every single Kings game on YouTube. We're here. We're drinking beers.
That's right. I almost forgot.
And we're talking about your Sacramento Kings. So, Kings snap a 4-game losing streak. Trey Lyles gets the start tonight. And he performs really big. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Calvin, first thoughts on the game?
I mean, overall, you have to be happy, right? I think it comes with a shade of skepticism in certain areas. Like, for example, Trey Lyles had a fantastic game tonight, but this was a great matchup for him and for all the Kings bigs. They really, had a serious advantage inside. So is he going to look like that every night? Probably not. This is also a team that's not a great team when they're healthy. They're really depleted. It took the Kings a long time to kind of break away from the pack. The second half was really good. Defensively, they looked better. I was pleased with that. Offensively, it's still a big mix. I mean, the ball movement was good. Sometimes it was too good. There were too many passes that led to turnovers. They're just still figuring each other out. But I think you could take a lot of positives away from this. DiVincenzo's shot finally going down. Trey Lyles playing better and stepping into the power forward role, which has been, like we've mentioned, a revolving door all year long. Sabonis and Fox continuing to play really, really well together. Now the trick is, can you keep this momentum going and keep doing it against better teams than the Thunder, who were missing 2 of their 3 best players?
Yeah, I see Tanvir in here. What's up, buddy? I heard you got to go to your first Kings game the other night. Is that
Shout
true?
out.
Is that true? Let us know here in the chat. What's up, Jeff? Good to see you there. Christian, yes, it is Monday, and we're having happy hour over here. Bruce, welcome to your first live show. We have a lot of fun here. Feel free to comment, to chat. We're having fun, and we're drinking beers, and we're talking about the Kings. And also want to remind you all, if you do want to buy us a beer, hit that super chat or super sticker button down below. He says, yeah, it was lit ASF. That's cool,
awesome, man. I'm happy for you. Wish we could have been there to celebrate with you.
Yeah, Calvin and I are actually going to be going to the Kings-Celtics game on March 18th. Hopefully we will see you all there. We'll be making the trip. We're going to be in Vegas the week before, so we're going to be doing post games in Vegas, and then Friday night we'll be at that game. So hopefully we'll get to hang out with you guys. Not sure what we're doing afterwards yet, but we'll let you guys know. So Calvin, main difference I saw in this game, other than the Kings winning, was they started out really hot. I think they were up 13-2 at one point in this game. I don't know if this has anything to do with Trey Lyles. Obviously, he played really well, and Mo Harkless has not played well offensively. I thought it was a good move.
It's a great move because of the way that he played tonight. And like I said, they really took advantage of of a big disadvantage for the Thunder that they had inside. I mean, Oklahoma City Thunder have very few traditional post-up players or guys with real size that can bang inside with somebody like Sabonis. So it was clear that that was a focus for the Kings early, was to go inside. They actually were telegraphing way too many of those passes as the game went on, didn't take advantage of other areas of the court. But it's still that's why Trey Lyles had such a great game. He's a very smooth player, has a good outside shot. He's patient, great pump fake, which we saw over and over and over and over again today. And he used his height advantage, his size advantage to get to the basket and get to the free throw line. So it was a good move to use him in this role, and it just further proves to me that the power forward position this offseason is what the Kings really need to be focused on. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they have a chance to get somebody like Bradley Beal or, one of these really top-tier two guards, obviously you're going to take that. But I feel that if this team you keep everybody that's on this team right now, you add a legit full-time starting power forward, they're a much, much better team.
Yeah, and we're going to dive in a little bit deeper into the offseason in the next section. We're going to go over salary caps, all that good stuff, potential guys that we might want to add. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. 3 of 4 for Lyles in the first quarter. He finished the game 10 of 14 from the field. I thought it was huge for him. His ability to stretch the floor definitely helps out the starters.
Yes.
But just overall, I am happy about this win. I am, because, the Kings were playing well early. Then the third quarter, I got a little worried.
Yeah, the first few minutes of the third was not looking good. It was like
3 turnovers in the first 90 seconds of that third quarter. Yeah. The Kings, it was tied at halftime, but, they kind of lost their momentum in the way they were playing. They were able to pick it up towards the end of the third and stretch that lead out to 9 and eventually win the game in the fourth with a big performance by De'Aaron Fox, 11 points in the fourth quarter. But I was a little worried.
Oh, yeah. I think all Kings fans were. I mean, if they lost this game, who knows what things would have been said on this show tonight. But
I was texting Skip during the game. I was like, Kings suck, dude. They need to pull the plug if they lose this game.
Right? Yeah, I think we all would have been saying that for sure. But they, give them credit. They stuck together. Like I said, the defensive effort, the actual team defense or individual defense wasn't always great throughout the whole course of this game, but the effort was there from start to finish. And that's been one of the big things, the big disappointing things about this team throughout the course of this year and for the last couple of seasons. So, and then they finally got their shots to fall in the second half, particularly outside, and really broke away. I mean, they scored 40 points in that third quarter. That's without scoring for the first nearly 3 minutes. Yeah. Still end up with a 40-point quarter. So they definitely had it rolling there. Once they were able to get some turnovers, get out and run a little bit, and kind of turn the faucet off on the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Shout out to Matthew here. Thank you so much for the super chat, Matthew. I'm surprised you didn't put 53 in there, or 35. Maybe it was like right. $5.35, something like that. But actually, hit us up on Instagram, because we have something to share with you. So hit us up on Instagram at Royal Rebounds. And then also Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. $9.99 from Bruce tonight. We're buying some beers.
Yes, we are.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. Calvin, let's jump here into the box score.
Box score looks pretty good today.
It does.
As you mentioned, De'Aaron Fox, another double-double, 29 points, 10 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 4 rebounds. He led the way with 41 minutes played. I thought his hustle and his energy defensively on Gilgeous-Alexander, who also had a great game. But still, I loved the way that the Kings were playing him. I mean, he's just a tremendous player.
Yeah,
and
so
they
made adjustments.
They made adjustments, and players who are that good are going to find ways to get to the free throw line and score. I mean, he's a lot like the old James Harden, in that he's so good at getting to the basket, using his length and his body to draw fouls. You're just only going to do so much against him. But they were blitzing the screens really well in the beginning. They went away from that a little bit. Part of that is because Sabonis gets in foul trouble there in the second quarter, so they can't really be as aggressive in trapping as they were in the first quarter. But I thought their game plan towards him was really good. Trey Lyles, big first starting performance here for the Kings. 31 minutes. He played, I think, 16 minutes in their previous game. Before that, guy hadn't even played more than 10 minutes in a game for the Kings. 31 tonight, 10 of 14 from the floor, 24 points. Harrison Barnes was big in that second half as well, with finishes with 23 to go along with 5 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And then the bench gave them some really good production tonight as well. DiVincenzo with 14, Davion Mitchell with 13, Damian Jones with 6, and Jeremy Lamb with 5 total for the Kings.
And as you mentioned, Shea killed it.
He
19 and 8 at
did.
halftime. I think he ended with like 37 and 10 or something crazy.
He did.
And I think I heard somebody call him a superstar. I don't know if it was Kyle Draper or not, but he was like, this dude is an absolute
If he played on a good team or in a big market team, he would be a superstar. I truly believe that. He's so young. This guy, the league is in good hands. There's a lot of really good young players, particularly guards. And SGA is one of those guys who's going to make a bunch of all-star teams for the remainder of his career here.
Yeah, and surprisingly, they actually made it a pretty close game. They're missing 6 people in this game, including Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, and a bunch of other young talent. Rashawn Holmes misses this game again tonight with back soreness. I think he was a scratch right at shoot-around. Maybe he tweaked it or something, because I was watching the pregame press conference with Alvin Gentry, and he was saying, oh, he's looking good. He's probably going to play tonight. And then ends up becoming a late scratch. I don't think that had anything to do with the Trey Lyles starting position or anything like that. It's just disappointing to see Rashawn constantly miss these games with injuries. And I just feel bad for him, man. I really do.
Yeah, and this is a game where he could have really gotten himself back on track, right? Because we've already talked about how the Kings really had an advantage inside. Yep. It would have been, I think, a good first game back for Rashawn. So hopefully he doesn't sit out again.
I also want to give a little highlight to Dante DiVincenzo, 5 of 7 from three-point range tonight. I know a lot of Kings fans have been upset with his shot selection or just the fact that he's been airballing and missing a bunch of these three-pointers. Everyone's making excuses, including us, saying he's coming back from ankle surgery, all that. His shot's going to come back. Hey, he made some shots tonight.
He did make some shots. And look, I mean, he's a shooter. He was bound to have one of these games at some point. The guy is a solid pro. Like, I would like to see him maybe look for a mid-range shot a little bit more. I don't know if that's a product of the coaching or the playing style, or it's just him, not looking for that shot. I'd like to see him maybe try to get himself going earlier on in a game with a mid-range shot or two. But he was very effective for them tonight. Plus 20 tonight. So. Yeah. And he was part of the closing lineup, too, out there. Because we know he's going to give you really good defense, right? So if he's on offensively, he immediately becomes somebody that you really like out there playing alongside Fox and Sabonis there in the closing minutes.
Yeah, we're going to give another shout-out to Alfie here, a 12-pack. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated.
I'll drink to that.
Oh, man. The beer's a little flat, but it's not bad. It's been in the kegerator for too long.
It helps when you don't pour it on your shirt, though.
Everyone's like, nice shirt, Cal, nice shirt. Oh, yeah, watch me spill something on it. It's even better now. Couple things that really stood out to me, and we're going to talk about the team stats here in a second. Kings had 30 assists tonight in the game.
Yeah.
I heard Katie mention the Kings are 7-1 this season when the Kings have over 30 assists. That's huge. I think bringing in a guy like Sabonis is just going to continue to propel them towards having higher and higher assist games, getting rid of guys like Buddy Hield. I hate to always be hating on Buddy Hield because I really do like Buddy Hield, but I'm glad the turnovers are gone from him, and we're bringing in guys that can actually pass the ball, and there's a flow to the offense. It's not just one shot, chuck it. Some people would say that Dante's been that guy, but I really don't agree with that. So 7-1 when the Kings have 30-plus assists on the night, and the Kings are 1-1 on this 5-game road trip. So, we talk about how big this week is of basketball, and you mentioned the Lakers lost last night, but unfortunately they lost to the Pelicans, who we're in a race with.
If the Lakers keep losing, that opens up another play-in spot also.
That's true. So. And the Spurs lost to the Grizzlies tonight.
They did.
Did you see the highlights from that game?
I know you're going to talk about Ja Morant's dunk.
Oh, there's two moments.
Yeah.
There's the Ja Morant dunk, and then there's I think it's like right before halftime where Steven Adams catapults this pass all the way across the court. Mm-hmm. Ja Morant catches it in midair, just flings it, and it goes in for a buzzer beater.
He is must-see TV.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is really incredible. But the Kings are officially 23-40 on the season. We have 19 games to go. The Kings, if they're going to make the playoffs, they need to make a push here. We got Peja turned around. Calvin, let's go over the team stats, and then I want to talk about your king of the night.
Oh, man, I hadn't even thought about that yet. That's going to be a tough call. I mean, I don't know if there's really anything that stands out to me so much in the team stats. The rebounding has just been really great since they've gotten Sabonis. I keep looking at that usually first.
Fred, thank you, Fred. Much appreciated.
Cheers. 46-38 tonight for the Kings. They dominated in the paint. Again, when this team scores over 60 points in the paint,
Charlie, you're out of control.
They win more often than not. I don't even know what Charlie said. Nice.
It was a dirty dunk, man.
It was.
It really was.
It was.
He took off of him like outside the key.
I know, and he just cocks it back. Yeah. It was great. It was. I wish I could do that.
That's me at the trampoline park.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. But yeah, looking at the team stats, like I said, when you see the Kings win by 20, I mean, this is what you would expect to see. Attacking the paint, really, really high scoring inside, not just from the fact that they had the advantage with the bigs, but from De'Aaron Fox as well. 30 assists, as you mentioned, they already had, or they have a phenomenal record when they reach that number. They didn't shoot tremendously well from outside, but they shot over 55% from the field overall. So it was a solid all-around game. They made enough stops defensively to get themselves not just build a lead, but win going away at the end there.
I'd like to see a little less than 17 turnovers. That's a lot for me.
Yep.
But when you're assisting the ball that much, I'm okay with that ratio. But I'd like to see them cut down a little bit on the turnovers. I love the points in the paint tonight. The Kings dominated in that category, up by 12. Yep. Also out-rebounded the opponent, and then field goal percentage, 56% for tonight for Sacramento as opposed to 46% for Oklahoma City. The Kings seem to win games when they shoot better than the other team and rebound. They have to come together. We've seen games where the Kings, we're like, how'd the Kings lose this game? They shot 40 or 45% from three-point range. They shot 55% from the field, and they lost the game. And it usually comes down to rebounding. Now that they brought in one of the best rebounders in the league in Sabonis, I feel like if the Kings are able to dominate in field goal percentage and rebounding and cut down on those turnovers, they're going to win a ton more basketball games.
Absolutely. And for me, again, it just comes down to how many stops can you get. And you're right, rebounding is definitely a part of that. You have to finish a closed-out possession with a rebound. But
yeah. What's up, Dab Rab? No dabs tonight.
No dabs tonight.
You just rab right now, I guess. What's up, Richard? Shake my head. Oh, man, we're having a lot of fun here. So, Calvin, I want to talk a little bit about DiVincenzo. I know I just briefly mentioned him. Sorry, I said 5 of 7 from three-point range. 4 of 6.
5 of 7 from the field.
5 of 7 from the field. I just love this guy's energy on the court. He's just like a ball hog. He just constantly is going after the ball. He doesn't give up on plays. For me, I can see the offensive player getting frustrated by how much this guy is just hounding him, and he's all over him. And we didn't see it tonight with Shea, but normally when you have a player like this that you can kind of sick on a best player or a ball handler, it really takes them off their game. And considering he's had the ankle injury, we've talked about that. It seemed to be affecting his shooting. It certainly doesn't affect his attitude, his energy. I could only imagine if he's getting better and better on defense.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this, when the Kings make these deals and they bring all these guys in, this is what you would expect to see, as a fan. This is the type of play. Maybe you're not going to expect them to win by 21 points every night, but just the way that they play night in and night out. This is what you would expect to see from this group of players. So, like we said, the shots are going to fall eventually. It's just like Davion. You know, we talked about his shooting struggles early on in the season, and we kept saying, you know, just give it time. He's going to start hitting shots. Same thing for DiVincenzo. So if they can combine that with this ability to play solid defense late in games and get critical stops in a close game, it's going to result in at least a couple more wins here for this team throughout the course of an entire season, which is huge. I mean, if you can change, I know it doesn't seem that big right now because the Kings have dug themselves such a huge hole.
Yeah.
But if you come into next season and you're able to keep yourself around 500 for the majority of the year, those extra 2 or 3 wins that you're going to get from playing better defense is the difference between
They're huge.
Not just making the playoffs and missing the playoffs. It might be the difference between the 6th seed and having to play in the play-in tournament. So it's incredibly important.
Yeah. What's up, Key Kings? Good to see you in here. And also, I forgot Mike Monticello, our fan of the week, is here. I see him. Priest reminds me here, Calvin, I forgot about your king of the night. He says Lyles.
I mean, Lyles is a good pick just because you totally didn't expect this game from him, and he really changed the course of the game. Obviously coming out and being hot right away offensively. He gave them an option, especially for a guy that can knock down an outside shot and take advantage of a size mismatch inside. That's something that the Kings haven't really had in a long time. I mean, I can't really remember a guy like that on this team, and he plays so smooth. I think you could probably give it to a couple different people tonight. I'm going to give it to De'Aaron Fox, though, and my reasoning for that is that everything that this guy's been through this season, even when he's played well, people have dogpiled on him for different reasons. Defense, leadership, just the fact that the team is not playing to the expectations that everyone had for them going into this season. The trade situation, the way that whole thing went down with Tyrese and him being out with the ankle injury leading up to that, all that stuff aside, the guy really since the trade deadline has showed me a lot more just in terms of his effort. Yep. The numbers have obviously followed. He's put up great statistical games back-to-back.
Every
doubles
month. Every
assists.
Month he's improved.
Yes, every single month. And yes, Gilgeous-Alexander had a really fantastic game as well tonight, but they battled the two of them all night long. They got him into foul trouble. Fox was he was really, really good for me. So I'm going to go with De'Aaron on this particular night.
Yeah, we got Matt George in here. What's up, Matt? Great win tonight. Yes, we are happy about that. What do you think about Mo Harkless? No minutes tonight for him. I think that's kind of weird considering he didn't get a lot of minutes in the last game, but going from starting to absolutely nothing at all, do you see anything here?
I see the same thing that I've seen all season long. I mean, if you look back at the beginning of this year, the power forward position has been like this all the time. They maybe have thought that they found somebody they really like and is going to be consistent for them, but then that person starts to drop off. First it was Harkless, then it was Metu, and now you've got Trey Lyles in there. So I'm not actually surprised by this whatsoever. I think Mo Harkless only played 13 minutes in both the two previous games before this as a starter and was really, really non-effective offensively. So they've been trying to find an answer for this position all year long. So it doesn't surprise me at all that you see a new lineup or a new rotation tonight.
I want to give another shout out to someone that left us a comment this morning on one of our past lives. His name is Tyler Durden. I don't know if you've ever heard of him.
I have heard of him.
But he says, I made almost $24K this year literally betting the Kings will lose. This channel has helped me on occasions. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but thank you.
We're not giving any financial advice, but you're welcome, Tyler, I guess. And thank you for watching. I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, I thought it was really weird. He didn't get any playing time tonight. But, yeah, as you mentioned, the rotations have kind of been like that tonight. And, when you bench him for a guy like Trey Lyles who plays out of his mind.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Trey had come
What's
out
the
and
point?
gone 0 for 7 to start this game, he's not going to finish playing 31 minutes probably. Alvin Gentry has shown me that he's going to go with the hot hand, or they're not always hot, but like he's going to go with the guy that's making the most impact on that particular game. And tonight, Trey Lyles had a huge, huge impact on this game.
Would you expect the starting lineup to be the same next game? You think he's going to tweak it a little bit more? It's a must-win, right?
It is a big, big game. Yeah, I'd expect to see Trey back in the starting lineup again. I think that it just would, first of all, it would look weird, after the guy has this great game and the offense seems to have more continuity together. The ball movement was really good with that group of 5 starting out tonight. So I would be surprised to see him change it up again. But then I guess I could say I wouldn't be surprised because he's changed it all season long. But if I had to put money on it, I would put money on Trey Lyles starting at the 4 against New Orleans.
At halftime, Alvin Gentry's like, I'm a fucking genius. I knew it. I knew it. Great move. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't.
True.
What's up, Gothan? Glad you are here joining us. All right. Davion Mitchell finally got his offensive game back. 13 points for him tonight, 6 and 9 from the field. I know he only made 1 3 tonight, 25% from three-point range, but he seemed aggressive. What's the difference in him?
I don't think there was any difference. I mean, look, he had a rough game. He only played 12 minutes, though, the other night against Denver and took 6 shots maybe. So I don't see any difference in him, and I think that's one of the things that you can really applaud him about, especially for a young player in the league. Trying to just stay within yourself and trusting what you do well as a player can be really difficult, not just in the pros, in any level of the game, but especially when you're a top 10 pick and you're going to hear noise from the outside when you don't play well right away. But that's who he is. The guy is like a very calm and composed person who plays with a lot of intensity defensively. But he knows what he's good at. He knows what he's capable of. And I don't think he really tries to do too much when he's out there. He takes good shots. He's good at creating his own shot. He gets to the basket well. Sometimes you have good shooting nights and sometimes you don't. And tonight he got some shots to fall for him.
Yeah. I'm going to continue with the bench here in Damian Jones. I love what I saw from him tonight. I think that call earlier in the game shouldn't have been a goaltend. The ball was on its way up. Maybe it hit the glass.
Was close.
They didn't show a replay, but he had an amazing block later in the game after that too.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was texting Skip and I was like, dude, maybe Jones is the shot blocker, rim protector they need in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Well,
but then Trey Lyles,
but in hindsight,
has a great game.
Damian Jones against Denver plays pretty poorly, right? Because they have big bodies that can match up inside with him. Oklahoma City does not have that. So he was, those were probably some of the easiest blocks he's ever had in his career. And it's just another reason why you have to take each game as it is. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. We're not all expecting Trey Lyles to come out and average 20 points a game for the rest of the season. I'm not expecting Damian Jones to average 3 blocks a game for the rest of the season. They took advantage of a good matchup tonight, and they won this game. Now, what can you do about it going forward? How are you going to build off of this?
Yeah, I agree with you. And you're right. Sometimes you do have to pump the brakes a little bit because tonight you were playing one of the very few teams in the NBA that has a worse record than Sacramento.
Right.
And as I mentioned, they had 6 guys out with injury. So, yes, there are going to be guys that look good on this Kings team. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited to see Richaun Holmes come back is because he's going to be playing against a lot of these second units instead of the starters that he's used to. So I really hope he can make it back soon. A couple more guys I want to talk about, Calvin, and then let's move on because we have a ton to talk about. We're not talking about the Fox NFT today, but we're going to be talking about starting lineups. We're going to be talking about cap space in next season. I got an awesome quote from Alvin Gentry, and I also want to talk about Isaiah Thomas and DeAndre Jordan. And I know you wanted to wish a happy birthday to somebody as well.
I did.
But we can wait on that.
Well, yeah, we'll wait on that.
If you guys know whose birthday it is, it's a trick question, but let us know in the chat. All right, so Harrison Barnes, 34 minutes tonight, 6 of 12 from the field, 23 points from him. I saw an interview with one of the coaches. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they said, how do you feel about Harrison Barnes? Are you ever upset with him? And the quote was, I'm only upset with him when he doesn't shoot the ball enough.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. You know, I thought he had a great game tonight. We've, felt like he's disappeared on certain occasions this season. And other times we felt like he's been the most consistent of all the Kings players. It doesn't always show up on the stat sheet for him, but I thought he had an excellent game tonight.
He did. He's played fantastic ever since the trade deadline. I really have a hard time finding areas of the game where like you just said, where I'm disappointed with what Harrison is doing out there. He came alive there in that end of the third, fourth quarter when the Kings really started to break away, hit some big threes. But the guy's just so consistent in how he approaches the game. He's great at attacking the basket. I think he is a great piece to have with somebody like Sabonis because he moves off the ball really, really well. He's very adept at cutting, knows when to and knows where to, all that stuff. And he is a great free throw shooter. He's physical player who is really good at drawing contact, getting the line, and then, of course, knocking down the free throw after that. So I know we've all kind of, like you said, maybe wanted to see more out of Harrison at times this season. But I think the current roster is better suited to him right now without having Fox and Tyrese out there. There's more touches for him to go around. So he's playing really, really well right now, and they're going to need him to play at that level down the stretch here if they're trying to make some noise in this play-in tournament. Yeah,
and as you mentioned, free throws are huge. 10 for 11 from him tonight and 8 of 14 for Fox. When the Kings are aggressive, when they're getting to the free throw line, good things happen. One thing for me about Barnes and Sabonis is they both don't look very strong, but they are both incredibly strong guys, right? Like they're not LeBron James body type, huge yoked guys, but they are both incredibly strong. And thanks, Vinny. And I love it when they work inside. So good game by Harrison Barnes. And a good game by Sabonis. I saw Matt here in the comments. He said DiVincenzo had a sneaky good game. Sabonis had a sneaky good game tonight. Only 14 points, but 16 boards, 7 assists, 7 of 8 from the field. 8 turnovers is not good, but he was banging inside. He was always involved. And, his presence has been sorely missed for Sacramento. Just the guy that's inside fighting a rebound that they would have no shot at, and he is able to knock it back to somebody or get a hand on it. It's much, much needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this guy, if they weren't doubling him as soon as he got the ball, he would have had probably 30 points tonight, I'll say, because there was nobody that could stop him inside. So immediately, as soon as he touches the ball, Oklahoma City's doubling him. Some of those turnovers actually are not – I wouldn't really put them on Sabonis because the guards outside were throwing some really, really telegraphed, terrible passes inside to him that were either taken right out of his hands or he catches the ball and turns right into the double team, stuff like that. So some of that is not his fault. But, yeah, he was the same, solid Sabonis that they've gotten from him every night, really, since he's been a member of this team. Another near triple-double. He's been 3 or 4 assists away from a triple-double, like, every single game so far. So
Baby Joker.
Yep.
Charlie's got a good comment here in the chat. Fun fact, Marvin Bagley has scored more points with his offhand this season than Tyrese has scored with his offhand his entire professional and amateur career.
Charlie, I've never met anybody that keeps track of people's offhands like you do. I mean that in the best way possible. It's really, really a cool thing. But I've never seen anybody pay that much attention to it. It's wild.
And that segues us into...
Off night?
Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah. Happy birthday, Tyrese. I'm wearing the old NBA Jam. I guess you can call it old now because he doesn't play for them anymore.
Yeah.
NBA Jam, Fox and Halliburton shirt. It is not actually his birthday, as I'm sure a lot of people know. He was born on a leap year, so his birthday is February 29th.
Yep.
But he gets to celebrate it today because there is no February 29th this year.
Yeah, he's almost 5, right?
Yeah, something like, I think he's almost 6.
Almost
He
6.
will be, yeah. His next actual birthday will be his 6th
He'll
birthday.
be 6 years old. Oh, man, that's ridiculous. That's funny. My mom's old boss had that same birthday and was just like, I'm 12 years old. And you're like, no, you're not. Come on. Come on. Shut up. Shut up with that. All right, Calvin, let's touch on your keys to the game, and then we'll move on.
Well, key number 1 was guard the 3. Or, sorry. Where am I here?
Yeah, you're right.
Key number 1 was guard the 3, which they did a pretty good job of that. I mean, the Thunder had some open looks from 3, but for the most part, I saw some good closeouts. And Oklahoma City, who's not a good three-point shooting team overall. So, again, that's another thing you take with a grain of salt. But they only shot 31% tonight. Keep talking on defense. I thought that the rotations, the communication were a lot better tonight from this team. It's not perfect, and it's not going to be perfect probably for a while. You know, this group of guys needs an offseason and all that stuff to go through first before you really make your final determination of what they're really going to look like as a team, both offensively and defensively. But it was better tonight, I thought. And then number 3 was anybody but SGA beats you. It should have been the other way around. Only SGA can score, nobody else. But hey, like we said at the top of the show, dude's a phenomenal player. The Kings, I thought, did a good job of having a solid game plan and executing it to a degree. They were making it really difficult on him. But he's great at getting to the basket. He's great at drawing fouls and gets a ton of easy points at the free throw line. So that's why you have a guy like him or like James Harden to where you look down and the dude has 30 points and you're like, well, I haven't really seen him make that many shots. It's because he gets to the free throw line so easily and he converts at a high rate there. So that's all you can really ask of the top tier when you're playing against the top talent in the league, right? Guys are going to have great games. You just have to try to make it as hard as possible on them. And I thought the Kings, for what the Kings are defensively, they did that tonight.
Yeah, and I saw some pretty decent rotations for them at certain points in the game where they were communicating and they were getting each other's back. So, you know, all good stuff there. But I'm going to say it again because I don't get to say it very often. Kings win tonight, 131-110 over the Oklahoma City Thunder. If you're enjoying a beverage tonight and you need to break the seal, here's your chance. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we return, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into your Sacramento Kings with Around the Crown.